Guys, with summer almost done already, it's time for me to rank my top 10 films of the summer, but keep in mind, this is based on movies that I've seen already. There's plenty of horror films out there that I've not seen, so you guys will have that in your list. But for me, this is my top 10 films of the summer that I have seen already. Alright, at number 10, I'm sorry guys, but I was never a fan of the casting. While the characters' dynamic, the visuals, the sound, the score, almost everything about this film was perfect, but the casting is what bothered me a little bit with almost everyone, except for the father and, of course, Hiccup. But everyone else bothered me, and that's the sole purpose why this is going to be number 10. Still a great film, just not the best film of the summer. At number 9, I have actually, shockingly, Jurassic World Rebirth. While this had many moments that I actually loved watching on the big screen, there are still other moments that had its issues and had its own reason why it was not an A grade of a movie. I gave it a B minus. The characters were great, the dinosaur scenes were great, but the story and some of the characters as well had its own problems. While it's not one of the worst movies of the summer, it's still not one of the greatest movies of the summer. Still a great Jurassic World movie, but obviously it will not beat the original ones. And number 8, it's a film that only really John Wick fans and Ana de Armas fans will love. It's a movie that has a lot more action than dialogue even, but the visuals, the action sequences, the music, the locations, all those reasons is why this movie is in my top 10 list. And yes, Ana de Armas perfectly shows that she is a great movie star, a great action star, right there alongside Tom Cruise. But of course, Tom Cruise is one of one. But Ana de Armas proves to be one of the best action stars out there right now, and Ballerina was just a solid movie. I loved it, and I love John Wick franchise, so definitely my top 10. At 7, I have one of the greatest live-action adaptations that I've seen from Disney, Lilo and Stitch. Well, yes, it's shocking to be this low on my list, but for Lilo and Stitch alone to be my top 10 list is pretty surprising. Stitch blew me away. The actors in this movie blew me away. Just the only difference was the way they changed the story, which we all know how it happened. I prefer the animated version. We don't always need the live action versions of movies, but we got this. We all loved it. Stitch was probably the best part of the movie as far as the marketing as well. But unfortunately, this had its own reasons why it's at number 7. Or at 6, yes, I'm putting Final Destination on there because if you're a fan of outrageous kill styles or just really random ways to watch people or members of a family, unalive, if you love incredible visuals still, if you just love to watch suspenseful sequences that lead to a certain way that someone unalives, it's a movie that's filled with bad luck and just unlucky charms in a family. And if you're just a fan of suspense, thrillers, and outrageous ways to unalive, this film was one of my surprise films of the summer. It made hella money, and get ready for Final Destination 7 on the way as well, was just announced. But yeah, this movie is shockingly at number 6. 5, I have Thunderbolts, and for the sole purpose of having a villain being depression, this movie can relate to a lot of us, right? And the key meaning being you're not alone. You always have that support system. You always have that group of close friends, family. This movie definitely spoke to the audience and spoke to me personally. The connection with all these characters together was hilarious, very emotional, and I never thought if you put a group of C-list actors, maybe B-list actors, in one movie together to become the new Avengers, I would have thought you're crazy, but this movie definitely impressed me. While it might have flopped financially, but seeing everyone in the dynamic and just the chemistry, especially between Bob and Yelena, I love this movie, one of the greatest Marvel films we've gotten recently, and that's why it's as high as 5th. 4, while yes, Superman was one of the most hyped film of the year, maybe one of the best films of the summer, which is why it made my top 5, it still had its own issues, more good than bad, but it didn't really sell me to being number one or number two. While David Cornsweet was fantastic as Superman, I love seeing Guy Gardner, I love seeing Hawkgirl, Jimmy Olsen, of course Richard Brosnan as Lois Lane. I love seeing the whole Daily Planet. I love the whole world that we've got. I love that James Gunn ripped the movie right from the comics. It was a much better movie than I thought it was going to be, for sure. But most of the issues is why it brought it lower or higher to 4, and why I think there are 3 more films a bit better. At 3, seeing Marvel's first family come to life finally was just something that I think all MCU fans was waiting for. I was very iffy on the casting with Pedro Pascal, obviously Ebon Moss-Backrack, Joseph Quinn, and Vincent Kirby. I was very iffy on everyone's casting, but they proved me wrong, especially Pedro Pascal and Joseph Quinn. I loved everyone's dynamic, everyone's chemistry, because as a family, it's hard to convince everyone that you guys can be a legit Marvel family. And Julie Gardner as Silver Surfer, you have obviously Ralph Ineson as Galactus. I gotta say, everyone here proved me wrong. The visuals and the music is what really stood out to me the most. And this movie should have been a little bit longer. I felt like the story really breezed right by, and that's why it's not 2 or 1. It's one of the greatest films we got this year. And yeah, it was a little bit too short. They cut some scenes out from the trailers even, but still a great film that I will rewatch all over again. At 2, guys, hear me out. Tom Cruise, one of the biggest action stars in the entire world right now. Mission Impossible, one of the biggest and generational franchise films we've ever received. This man does his own stunts for our pure entertainment. He loves making these movies, and he's a guy who's just a big adrenaline rush. He loves doing these things. He loves making sure we attend the movies, we watch his movies, which I'm sure we all did. These movies is the reason we go to the movie theaters. Okay, Mission Impossible, a movie that's filled with suspense, action, thrillers, romance, drama. They keep you on the edge of your toes, edge of your seat throughout the entire time. I love this franchise, and it's definitely deserving to be number 1, but there's one more film I think was not just better, but bigger of a scope, in my opinion, and that's why this one is number 2. Still a great film. I love Tom Cruise, but here's what's number 1 to me. Number 1, a movie that I consider to be probably the best one of the summer. It's gonna be, in my opinion, F1, starring Brad Pitt. If you guys love Top Gun Maverick, you will love this film. The same director as Top Gun Maverick, Joseph Kosinski, he came back to this film. The way he placed the camera movements, the camera angles in this film, dude, this is probably one of the first films I've seen where it has barely any action like fights, but it still really hit me, especially in IMAX. This movie is literally made for IMAX, with IMAX cameras. Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, Javier Bardem. This movie is a cinematic experience. The way we watch the films during certain angles, I loved. It had everything you want. It was thrilling, suspenseful, romance, drama. Especially if you love watching Formula 1 in real life, this movie is for you. I mean, there's no way this movie can go any wrong. If you love Formula 1, if you love Brad Pitt, if you love watching Top Gun Maverick, this movie is basically just like Top Gun Maverick, but in a race car on a racetrack. Many amazing locations, amazing cars, amazing cast, actors. Guys, this was a visual cinematic experience that I highly recommend watching in IMAX or even 4DX. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it yet. This movie came out in the summer of 2025. I believe it came out in June. I could be wrong, but it's still a film I consider to be the biggest one and the best one of the summer, in my opinion. The music and the visuals, again, in this movie, and the angles with the cameras, was really my main takeaways of the film. I loved it. Please check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Arguably the best of the summer.